In this lesson, lesson 33-2, we're going to be interpreting solutions of quadratic equations. We're going to be splitting this lesson into 3 sections. The first section is question 1. We'll cover questions 2 and 3, and then question 4. Question 1 starts off. The total time that the Spirit was in the air after the engine burned out is determined by finding the values of t that make h of t equal 0. Rewrite the equation identified in item 3a in lesson 33-1 and set it equal to 0. Well, 33-1, 3a was this h of t equals negative 16t to the second power plus 64t plus 512. So it says set that equal to 0. So we're going to do negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 512 equals 0. Now, here in step B, it asks us to completely factor this equation. Well, I see that we have negative 16 out to the front as our leading coefficient. I'm going to see if each number is divisible by 16. 64 divided by 16 is 4, so it is divisible. 512 divided by 16 is 32, so both numbers are divisible by 16. So I'm going to do what we factor out a negative 16 here. That's going to leave us with t squared plus 4t plus 32. Oops, sorry. And these shouldn't be pluses, they should actually be minuses because I'm factoring out a negative. So I should have put negative here and a negative there. All right, so what I'm looking for are two numbers that when multiplied will give me negative 32, but when added will give me negative 4. Well, factors of 32 is 1 and 32, 2 and 16, 4 and 8, and that's it. And if one's got to be positive while the other has got to be negative, and I want a negative 4 when you add them together. So we're going to have negative 16. We're going to have t here and a t in this parentheses, right? 8 and 4 sound like a good combination because 8 subtracted by 4 because one's going to be positive, the other's going to be negative, right? But I need the bigger number of those two to be negative. So we're going to have negative 8, positive 4. This is what we call the completely factored form of it. It says, identify and use appropriate property to find the time that the Spirit took to strike Earth again after the engine burned out. Well, we're going to apply what we call the zero product property. That means that either this parentheses has to be 0 or this parentheses has to equal 0. So we're going to say t minus 8 equals 0 or t plus 4 equals 0. Well, here we would add 8 to both sides, right? So this gives me t equals positive 8. Or I could have subtracted 4 from both sides. This would have given me t equals negative 4. Now remember, t represents seconds. So which one of these makes sense in this problem? T equals 8, and this actually falls in my reasonable domain. t equals -4 does not make sense. Can't have negative time. All right. On the next slide, you will see a debriefing question. Go ahead and finish copying this down before you move on to the next slide.